Hi everyone, I'm Gabby Medforth from David Lock Associates, and I'd firstly like to thank Newcastle University for inviting us to share this presentation with you. The aim of this presentation is to give you a bit of an insight into work at DLA, the work we do, and the career and work experience opportunities we have available at the moment. You'll also be hearing from my colleagues Victoria and Colette later in the presentation. So we are an independent consultancy based in Milton Keynes, and we have approximately 70 employees all working under one roof. We are predominantly made up of planners and urban designers, but we also have CAD technicians, GIS specialists and surveyors. We have an open plan office environment and a large breakout space, which encourages collaborative, social and a supporting working environment. Our key areas of work are within a 30 to 50 mile radius outside of London, particularly within the Oxford to Cambridge growth corridor, but we do also work further afield as well. So our ethos is delivering sustainable places through intelligent spatial planning and urban design. And our main areas of expertise, so town planning, master planning and urban design, and communications and mapping, really help us to achieve this. We are probably best known for our work at strategic level, including new settlements and sustainable urban extensions, though we do still work on a wide range of other projects too. This was really important to me when I started at DLA, as I wanted to experience as many different projects as possible. Other examples of the work we do include site promotion and policy work, all the way through to the implementation stages of development. So this is often promoting a site through the local plan process, which can lead to the adoption of a site. And then following this, we usually submit an outline planning application and reserve matters applications, which include the detail of development and ultimately enable us to start on site. We also do a fair amount of work in the public sector with public sector clients. So this is particularly through the development of framework and guidance documents, which may include master plans for, say, things like site allocations as well. A large proportion of our work is also on other housing sites, commercial and logistics sites, and we also do a lot of work on town and city centre regeneration. We ultimately are really fortunate to work with a wide range of really exciting and prestigious clients who share our passion to create great places. Although DLA is a private consultancy, it's one of the very few that is wholly owned by an employee benefit trust on behalf of its employees, and we have no external shareholders. So the trust enables us to be truly independent, and all of our decisions are made in the interest of our practice and our staff, with greater profit sharing and business investments. The Employee Benefit Trust also gives us greater flexibility to work with the public sector, including government departments, local planning authorities and the TCPA, though of course we do still work with lots of private sector clients as well. Other benefits in DLA include performance-related bonuses, our DLA Trust Award bonus, we have a medical insurance scheme, 8% contributory pension, we have a Cycles to Work scheme, our professional subscriptions to things like the RTPI are paid for, and we get 25 days annual leave a year, and then you can accumulate an additional 5 days after 5 years of working. Although slightly limited at the moment due to the current circumstances, we do usually hold a wide range of social events. So these include study tours with recent destinations, including Norway and France. We have a summer day out, lots of theatre trips and communal office lunches, do lots of evenings out as well, and we have sports teams, particularly including football, cricket and running. We also host lots of charity events such as tree planting, charity parties, fundraising events, and more recently we've also been equipping homes and fundraising for Syrian refugee families in Milton Keynes. Overall, we like to think that coming to work should be fun, stimulating and inspiring. I'd now like to pass you on to my colleague Victoria, who will take you through the next section of the presentation.
Hi, I'm Victoria and I've been an assistant planner at DLA for just over 2 years, and I wanted to talk you through some of the projects that graduate planners can get involved in at the company at the beginning of their careers. So as you might know, DLA are mostly known for large-scale strategic development, but we do also have smaller-scale clients and projects. So this client is BRICKHILL Homes, a small developer based in Buckinghamshire. So when I first started in the autumn of 2018, I did an appraisal assessing the suitability of a site for residential development. The site was a derelict scout hall in Buckingham, and the client purchased it from the council after our advice, and we were then instructed to submit a planning application for 4 dwellings. So I was able to act as a project manager, which meant that I was coordinating the submission and the consultant team, including architects, ecologists and engineers, to make sure that we had all the relevant documents and drawings to be able to submit the planning application. So I prepared the application as well, drafting the planning design and access statement, a covering letter and the application forms, and once it was ready it was submitted to the council. So after a period of negotiation with the local planning authority, the case officer, we were granted full planning permission for 4 dwellings, and you can see the CGI of what the houses will look like once they're finished. You'll see that the street scene is mirrored from the adjacent existing dwellings to be consistent with the built form. The site's close to completion now, so I'll have been able to see a project from planning appraisal to being built out, which I think is really rewarding. So the next project I undertook for BRICKHILL Homes was the coordination and submission of a reserve matters application for 10 dwellings on the edge of a village, again in Buckinghamshire, adjacent to a conservation area. Similar to the last application, I drafted the submission materials and liaised with the relevant consultants. So the application was submitted to the council in August 2019, but many statutory consultees raised objections and comments which required action by our client. So as the project manager, I was responsible for liaison with the client, the consultants and the council to try and resolve these issues. So for example, the heritage officer required a specific type of handmade brick, which my client wasn't willing to use due to the availability and the cost implications of the bricks. Therefore, I had to work with the architect to try and choose an appropriate brick to try and resolve these issues. So once all of this had been rectified, we were granted reserve matters approval, but when we received the decision notice, the drawing references of the approved plans were incorrect due to an administrative error on behalf of the council. To rectify this, we had to submit a non-material amendment application. We did receive consent in March 2020, so this site is under construction too. So I find that smaller projects are really rewarding to be able to see houses and development on the ground as a result in some part of my own work. It's also a really valuable learning experience, as on smaller projects, more junior members of staff are able to act as a project manager and really learn hands-on the same processes and procedure relevant to the larger projects as well. Moving on to larger projects, the biggest site I work on is HANWOOD Park, which is east of Kettering. Once completed, will consist of 5,500 homes, a secondary school, primary schools, employment and retail space, green space and other supporting infrastructure. So we've been implementing that permission and getting delivery on the ground, and you can see some parts of the site have started to be built out, with house builders such as David Wilson Homes, Persimmon and Taylor Wimpey already delivering on site. The lifetime of the permission was limited, and so it was due to expire in 2020. So we submitted 9 reserve matters applications right at the start of working from home in March, in total for 726 homes, 3 link roads and 2 areas of open space. I was mostly responsible for the road applications, which are close to being determined by the council. So due to the expiration of the permission, we're also working towards the submission of a new outline application with an accompanying environmental statement, which we're hoping to submit early in the new year. I'm one of 3 in the project team, working closely with Duncan and Donna, the project director and project manager. As I've developed, I've taken a greater responsibility for discrete parts of infrastructure, such as applications for substations and road infrastructure, and the amount of responsibility I'm given will continue to increase as my knowledge and skills progress. So I'm fully involved in the project, and it takes up quite a lot of my time week to week, with regular meetings with our client, the council and other consultants to keep the project on track. Delivery is going to continue for many years, probably decades in some form, and the client's aspirations mean it should be a really exciting project to continue to work on and a really great place to live.
Thanks, Vic. So moving on to opportunities we have on offer, this year we have adapted our work experience opportunities and are running virtual work experience weeks to continue to offer students a chance to gain an insight into DLA and planning and urban design in practice. We also have opportunities open for both a graduate planner and urban designer role, with applications being accepted up until 4th of January next year. For our our virtual work experience weeks, we welcome applications from students with an interest in town planning or urban design or both. It's an opportunity for you to explore what interests you across the broad scope of work DLA do. Our next virtual work experience week is due to run in January, so if you are interested, please send your CV and covering letter to us to be considered. These weeks are a great opportunity to get a feel for planning and urban design in practice and the wide scope of both disciplines to find out what you are most interested in, and if you're impressed, sometimes a job offer can come out of it. One of our most recent graduates, Dan, came in for work experience shortly after completing his masters, and he's never left. So in terms of the ideal candidate, besides having the appropriate RTPI accredited degree or urban design masters, the main thing we want to hear is about what attracted you to apply to DLA and why that aligns with your interests. In an increasingly competitive marketplace, we place a high importance on the personal and character attributes alongside your learned skill set. We've found from experience that it's actually harder to teach innate consultancy skills than it is to mentor graduates through the practicalities and implications of the planning system and urban design. In terms of our recruitment process, we like to keep the process simple and effective because our focus is on meeting you and getting to know you. The interview day is structured with an initial 30-minute written task on a current planning or urban design topic or scenario. Then this is followed by the interview itself, which is an informal discussion between yourself and two planners or urban designers depending on the role and one partner, and this is meant to be about them getting to know you and you also getting to know the company as well. This is then followed up with an office tour with a recent graduate to give you a feel of the office and give you a chance to also meet some of your potential colleagues. In terms of making the most of your written submission, employers can tell when sections are generic or could apply to any company or organisation, so make sure you spell the consultancy name correctly and reference their geography appropriately. We often get David Locke with an E, for example. One side of A4 is sufficient for your covering letter. It shows you can be concise and effective in your writing. More generally, it's good to thoroughly proofread your covering letter and CV for grammatical and spelling errors. It shows you have an attention to detail. Also do a consistency check between your covering letter and CV. If you're applying for an urban design role, please also prepare a digital portfolio including relevant project examples of work from your course or recent work experience. Our tips for interview are to first relax. This is not an exam, we just want to get to know you. Prepare for likely topics of conversation and be prepared to talk about your life outside of work. Your wider interests are important to show you have a good work-life balance. Following the initial interview, you will be offered the office tour. Use this as a further chance to make an impression. And following your interview, it's always good to reflect for your own benefit and also send a follow-up email. So to apply to us for work experience or for one of the graduate roles, please forward your CV and covering letter to the highlighted email address ahead of the closing date on the 4th of January. Overall, whether you're applying for a graduate role or work experience, there really isn't anything to lose. Work experience is a great way to give you an edge when you come to apply for your first graduate role. It not only looks good on your CV, but it can also help you work out what you like and decide what career path is right for you. And all interview practice is useful to help you prepare and improve your interview skills. So if you're interested in a company, be confident and don't hesitate to get in touch with them. So thanks a lot for allowing us to come and present to you today, and we hope we've highlighted that planning and urban design is an interesting and exciting career open to you all, and we hope to hear from some of you very soon and hopefully adding some Newcastle alumni to our DLA team. Thank you.